Morning. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw, and I am what am I? I'm the founder and CEO of Monopolize Your Marketplace, and would like to welcome you to our webinar today. This is a topic that has a lot of interest this time of year, talking about home shows and events. Normally, we would like to hold this webinar maybe even a month earlier in November, but the way the schedule worked out, that just didn't happen. So here we are at the beginning of December, hopefully to give you some good information that you can take and invest into your home shows at the beginning of the year. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. Looks like we've got a good attendance. Generally, in the first 5 minutes or so, we get other people that will show up a little bit late, but we'll go ahead and get started. As you can see, getting the most from shows and events, we're going to talk about getting more prospects, leads, and sales. The first part of this webinar will be a little bit more logistics in terms of deciding how to go, which home shows to go to, and so forth. And then we're going to get into a heavy-duty strategy for how to maximize your efforts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the presentation. The first thing I want to do, as always, is recognize our sponsors. Without our sponsors, there would be no webinar today. So if you find value in today's webinar, I'd like to invite you at the conclusion of the webinar to please send a note to whichever of the sponsors invited you and let them know, first of all, thank you for inviting you to the webinar. And if you have any feedback for them on the webinar, then you can provide that as well. Our sponsors are as listed on the screen: Market Sharp, Guild Quality, Qualified Remodeler, Gutter Covers International, and Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. We will be hearing from a couple of these throughout the webinar today. And for those sponsors that are not in attendance with us today, I will be giving you some information about how about those companies and how you can get in touch with them. I am going to give a poll in the middle of the webinar, and that poll is going to be your opportunity to check off any of the sponsors that you would like to learn more about. So I will be giving you a web address and a phone number for each of the sponsors, but you also can simply check off on the poll which of the sponsors you'd like to learn more about, and those folks will be in touch with you accordingly, okay? We're also going to do a giveaway at the end of the webinar today. We're going to give away 3 copies of the Monopolize Your Marketplace book. This is a book that I wrote myself a few years ago, and it is not directly geared towards remodeling contractors. It is good general marketing principles, though, that absolutely do apply to every one of your businesses who are on this call today. So I'll be giving away 3 of those books. We will do that at the end of the webinar, and you must be present to win because I will be randomly selecting them off the attendance list. So that being said, let's hear from a couple of our sponsors right now. Again, these are the folks that make this webinar possible. The first is Qualified Remodeler. I've been a longtime contributor to Qualified Remodeler magazine. In fact, they just published my most recent article about 2 weeks ago. So you might want to go to forresidentialpros.com. If you're not a subscriber to this magazine, by all means, you should be. Also, I've spoken at some of their events, their Top 500 event that is held in conjunction with the Remodeling Show. I've got a long background with this company and love everything about what they do. They've got the finger on the pulse of this industry. So again, highly recommend that you read the blogs on their website, the website itself, and of course their print edition. Qualified Remodeler, just go to forresidentialpros.com. Next is Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. Bath Wraps is also a company that's been with us most recently for 2 years now, but before that had been a sponsor of ours before. We've done some seminar series in the past that we've ramped back up here in the last couple of years, and Bath Wraps by Liner Direct has been a longtime sponsor of Monopolize Your Marketplace, and I have Nicolette on the line with me today. Nicolette, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Nicolette, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bath Wraps by Liner Direct?
All right, thanks, Rich, for the opportunity to introduce Bath Wraps. My name is Nicolette, and I'm the Inside Sales Manager at Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. Bath Wraps is the leader in one-day bath remodeling projects such as tub-to-shower conversions, walk-in tubs, and traditional tub systems. We offer our dealer network exclusive territories, business owner boot camp training to launch bath products, outstanding in-field sales and installation training and support, iPad sales tools, including our exclusive Build-A-Bath design app, which is available for free at the iTunes Store, and exclusive leads generated by headquarters marketing. The potential profit and growth opportunities are truly unlimited as you tap into an enormous market of $4,000 to $20,000 projects. Our focus on your success really comes down to launching, supporting, and generating exclusive leads in your exclusive territory. You can learn more and download our Market Smart Business System brochure at www.linersdirect.com/dealer, or feel free to email me at nicolette@linersdirect.com. Thanks, Rich. We appreciate being able to support your marketing content.
Thank you, Nicolette, and also say thanks to Dave when you see him. Hey, just a couple words on this.
Yep.
I was in Milwaukee last week doing a seminar, and you know, sometimes these kinds of companies, they say they've got exclusive territories, and then they don't necessarily honor that. This company, Bath Wraps, they've got dealers in Milwaukee, they've got dealers in Chicago, they're out of Chicago, and Dave Wilson, the president, came up to the seminar, and I asked him if he wanted to present to the room. And he said, no, I'm just here to watch the seminar and stuff. We've got dealers in this area, and we don't need any more dealers because we have our territories filled out in this area. So they've been really good at honoring that. The other thing is this idea of the lead generation. These guys are phenomenal. They have print advertising that they do on a national level that allows them at a very low cost to generate these leads. And they make them available to you at your discretion if you're a dealer. You don't have to buy these leads. You can tell them to go take a hike, but I wouldn't do that if I were you, because they have essentially, I don't want to say an unlimited amount of leads, but they have good quality leads in high quantities that come to you on a regular basis, and they're very low cost. Extremely unusual for a dealership network to have that type of in-house lead generation capability. So if you're thinking about that kind of product, or if you already have it and maybe you'd like to look at a different brand to carry, higher quality, better marketing support, then why don't you go ahead and check them out. Again, like I said earlier, you can simply check off the poll that I'm going to give you a little bit later in the webinar, Liners Direct, and they'll reach out to you. Thanks, Nicolette. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. I think we've got one more sponsor before we get into the content here, which is Guild Quality. Guild Quality has been a sponsor of Monopolize Your Marketplace for a year now, and the reason that they're a sponsor is because what they do and what we do is a really, really good fit. Most of you have probably at least heard of them. They're a company that does online reviews. It's an inexpensive way to get good social proof for your company, to find out what your customers think. Also, it will help your search engine optimization rankings because it allows you to continually generate fresh content in terms of reviews. Guild Quality is, in my opinion, online reviews are not optional in 2015, 2014. They're mandatory. You have to do this. So if you're lacking right now in terms of getting a systematic online review program, reach out to these folks, guildquality.com. Again, you can also check them off on the list as you get to the poll a little bit later on. So let's move into the content now, home show success strategies. And for those of you who have been on webinars with me before, you probably know my style. I tend to go pretty fast. I talk pretty fast. And just so you know, this webinar, as always, will be recorded. We will post it online probably as soon as this afternoon, tomorrow at the latest. You can go onto our website, check it out. We'll also send you an email. So if you miss anything, you feel like you want to go back and review, it'll absolutely be available to you. No need to send an email asking is it available, because it will absolutely be available. That being said, take notes, because I am going to move fast. We got a lot of material to cover, and we're going to dadgummit make it through all of it, okay? So just by way of sort of introduction of what we're going to talk about, these are some of the general things. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the first several points on this list. Which shows should you attend? Where should you put your booth? Staffing requirements, what your goals are. But we're going to spend the majority of the time on this thing called the triple play strategy. I'm going to talk to you about how to maximize your actual lead flow and sales from the home shows using this thing called triple play strategy. And that's going to determine what your booth setup looks like. We're also going to talk about several case studies. So please, please, please hang out with me all the way to the end. You're going to want to see these case studies where you can take the information that I'm showing you, and I'll give you examples of how it works in real life, okay? So the first thing is just should you even show up at the show? Of course, you're going to have to know how much it costs, and there's a lot of factors involved with that. Most of you already know this, so I'm going to go through this fairly quickly so we can get to, again, the heart of the matter, the triple play strategy. But take the cost in terms of the booth, giveaways, materials, multiply that number by 10, and see if you think you can get that much sales out of it. It's going to cost you $10,000 to show up. A good rule of thumb is you want $100,000 worth of sales. If you sell something that costs $20,000, you'll need to get 5 sales and so forth. Again, we're not going to go through that in detail, but my advice is if it looks like it might be a good fit, it's probably worth giving it a try. Here's a tip for you. Get the list of last year's attendees from the organizer and just get on the phone and call them and ask them what the attendance was like, how their sales were from it. And, probably don't want to call competitive companies, but there's plenty of them on there. If the organizer won't give you the list of last year's attendees, you probably need to turn and run. Let me talk about some kinds of events to consider and some kinds to avoid. Now, I'm going to put this slide on here that has all these kinds of weird things. Bratwurst Festival, it's probably up in Wisconsin, the boat show, car shows, RV shows. Clearly, remodeling shows, home shows, these types of shows are the best. But in terms of other kinds of events, I know a lot of companies out there have a team of people that go around to different types of events. Here's my advice. It's real simple. If the event is the type where people are naturally looking around and wandering around and they are there to just sort of wander and look at stuff, it's probably a good fit. On the other hand, if it's a large crowd that is there to specifically do something else, like for instance, NBA basketball or some kind of an event where they've paid money, they have a ticket, and they're going to see a show of some sort, my experience is those really aren't that good because the people are more interested in getting the value out of their ticket and watching the show just because there's big numbers there. There might be 20,000 people at a basketball game, but they're really there to watch something else. So just keep that in mind. Some of these shows, again, like I said, that have lots of people that are wandering around tend to be good secondary type shows after you go through, of course, the home shows, okay? Your booth location, I've always found that being closer to the front is better, period. The farther back you are, the more likely people are to not make it. Their bag gets full, they get tired, the bag gets deep, and it just gets harder to stand out, and people will get a little bit weary. I would say it's normally worth paying a premium to get to the front. If it's going to cost you an extra $500 to be closer to the front, multiply that by 10, it's $5,000. Can you get 5,000 of sales for being closer? Just something to think about and evaluate. I'm not trying to give you a hard, fast rule there. Just think about it, okay? Sometimes being near the food booth is okay, or near a larger company that has a large booth that will attract a lot of attention. You can sort of, latch onto them. Think about your staffing needs. Again, I told you before, I'm going to go fairly quick through these logistic type setup things so that we can get to the heart of the matter, which is the triple play strategy, okay? It's better to have too many staffers than not enough staffers. That's, this is one of those things. It's sort of hard to decide because if you have too many people, they're going to be standing around. If the show's not well attended, you could be wasting your time and money. But, I would rather have enough people to have an intelligent conversation with the people that do come than the other way around, okay? Get people out of your office, people out of the warehouse, make it an all-hands-on-deck affair. Sometimes these people are going to enjoy just getting out, seeing actual customers, and having a change of pace. That might be something to consider. People that you wouldn't normally think of as being home show workers, you might be able to grab some of those. Maybe even friends and family. If you really get in a pinch, you need somebody to come out there. This is what I like to say. If you're overstaffed 60% of the time, don't worry about it because the other percentages of the time when the crowds come, you're going to wish that you had those people there, okay? Now, there's some scripts that we're going to talk about that people are going to need to learn. So whoever you get there, my recommendation is you get them to learn the scripts that are associated with the triple play strategy. If not, then you're going to have people just sort of floundering and talking about stuff that they may or may not have the best idea of how to talk about. So what we're going to want to do, again, is we're going to want to give people some scripts. They're simple scripts. They're not hard to understand or learn, but they do take a little bit of time and preparation, okay? We'll get to those in a minute. What's your objective at the show? My advice, try to set appointments on the spot. Now, That might look obvious to a lot of you. I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of remodelers who just sort of gather data and then they go on the back end and try to set appointments. My recommendation is get your iPad out there, have some sort of scheduling platform that you can use, and schedule appointments on the spot. Take that customer off the market. There's tons of now buyers, people that are there specifically to look for whatever it is you sell, get them into an appointment situation, and set some goals going in. How many appointments do you want to get? How many contacts do you want to get? And there's a name capturing protocol that I'm going to discuss with you in a minute that goes along with the triple play strategy. Some of these shows I know now have electronic things where people can have something scanned. That's okay, but I'm going to recommend that you have people fill something out, and there's a reason for that that'll become evident as we get into this triple play strategy. Okay, when you set your booth up, now I'm going to go into detail about what kinds of things your booth needs to say, and it's going to be heavily dependent on how you execute this strategy. But just as a baseline, professionalism, it's not optional. You don't want to be that dinky little looking weirdo company that has its teeny little booth jammed into the back of the exhibit hall that looks like not professional. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to be the dinky guy. Think of it like a beauty contest or online dating, okay? I'm not very well versed in online dating because I've never done it because the internet got invented after I was married. But nevertheless, think about this. You're going to want to look the part. You're going to want to put your best face forward, not your dinkiest, goofiest face forward. So, this is probably not a good idea to show up. This is not going to instill confidence. As we get into this triple play strategy, here's what you're going to find out. You need to have a booth that immediately separates you from your competitors. It gives a promise of benefit, of value. And when you have something like Weather Armor custom retractable awnings with a little curtain behind it, a table with a black tablecloth, some literature, a sample of a gutter, you just scream out that you're a rinky-dink. And you say, well, I can't afford that stuff. It's too expensive. Do you realize how much it costs to get a good tension fabric backdrop 8 feet by 10 feet? It's going to cost you a couple $1,000s and then another couple $300 or $400 each to get some tension fabric pop-up banners that you can put on the sides to flank your home show exhibit, and you're going to look like $1 million for about $2,500. You say, well, we don't have $2,500. Well, then do this. Sit out this year's show, spend the money you're going to spend on getting this stuff, and then show up next year, okay? You don't want to be this guy that's on this screen right now, okay? So let's go into the triple play strategy. There's obviously 3 parts of the triple play strategy, hence it's called the triple play. And here's what they are. The first one, the foundation, the most important one, the one that everything else revolves around is identity. Then number 2 is what we call a big bill and giveaway, and I'll show you that in detail here in just a second. And then third most is following up. My experience with working with hundreds, probably thousands of remodelers over the last 10 years plus is that almost nobody actually follows up their home show leads. They just don't. They'll make a token effort. They'll put a little bit of effort. I'm going to show you a systematic way to follow up with people, and not just follow up, but actually, hey, get this, get in touch with people who actually will want to talk to you on the back end. Imagine that. A big part of this whole strategy is doing things that will allow people to want to talk to you. That's the biggest challenge. It's just getting them engaged in a conversation, whether it be at the home show itself or after the home show on a follow-up, getting them to make an eye contact with you or on the phone, a phone contact with you, and actually engage with you in the conversation. That's 50% of the battle. So we're going to talk about how to do that starting right now. So step 1, your foundation is identity. Now, if you've been on these webinars with me before, you've heard me pound my fist on the table over and over again. Identity. It's all about identity. You've got to have an identity. What is an identity? Guess what? I'm going to go through that right now. But just know this going in. If you do not have an identity that is clearly communicated at the home show, you are already losing 50% of the leads that you should be getting. Already, before you, everything else we're going to talk about, it doesn't matter. If you don't have the identity, you're automatically 50% down. 50%. Okay, so let's get this part straight. and then we'll get into the big bill and the giveaway strategy that will make the difference on the other 50%. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand. Your booth should be a reflection of your company's identity. What do you stand for? What can people expect when they do business with you? Why should they hire you instead of anyone else? What do you refuse to budge on? These are the questions that help us to identify your identity, okay? Then we've got to take those things and communicate with power, precision, and passion so that it's instantly, definitively understood, again, who you are, how you're different and better, what people can expect when doing business with you. This is your identity. Typically what people do on their booths is they have a picture of what they sell. That's okay, but it doesn't help to separate you from your competitors. Think about when somebody goes to the mall to buy a pair of shoes. What they're going to do is they're going to walk down the mall, they're going to look at the first store, then they're going to leave and go to the second, then they're going to leave and go to the third. Why are they going to the second and the third instead of just stopping and buying at the first? And the reason is pretty simple, because all of the stores look about the same, even though they have good selection, even though they have good prices, even though the store was attractive and everything about it was fine, people are going to just take a look. We want to make sure that if they go to the first store and then to the second, that when they get to the second, and let's assume that in this analogy of you at the home show, you were the first booth they saw. When they get to the second and to the third, we want them to draw this conclusion in their brain, which is, oh my gosh, I should have just stopped at the first one because these other ones are not nearly as good. But you've got to have the identity there, okay? Your company's identity becomes the hub of all your marketing messages, including your home show setup. So I'm going to give you a quick case study. I'll go through this rapidly. If you want more information on identity, you'll have to go to my website, search the topic identity under webinars, and you'll be able to find a longer discussion. But I'm going to go through this quickly. I've used the same example before for some of you who have been on my webinars before, but that's okay. Let's go through it and look at how it applies to the home show, okay? This guy is a remodeler. He does kitchens and baths, been in business for a long time. He's good at what he does. He's fanatical about getting things done right, sweats every little detail. Everything's got to be to his exacting standards. So the premise of this particular company's identity is that they're a remodeler with exacting standards who will do everything right. Now, your identity is going to have a different premise. Here's why. Because your company is different than this guy's company. This is a case study, okay? Every single company's identity is different. It's based on what they do, how they're different, why they're better, and it's like kind of like a fingerprint for your business, right? Everybody has one, but they're all different. Even though they sort of look the same, if you looked at everybody's fingerprints on a piece of paper, they all kind of look the same, but they're not. They're unique. They're different. And with an identity, they will look to the customers instantly different because each company has things that they do that are a little bit different. So I just don't want you to get bogged down on this example, this case study, and say, well, you know, that's not really me, and I'm not that kind of company. Maybe we sell windows and they sell kitchens, and it's different. It's not different. The principles are exactly the same. So here's what we found. When I first started working with this company, I looked at his website, and here's what it says: remodeling that revives the value of your life at home. Welcome to our website for information on the next home improvement remodeling project. We're a full-service residential general. Do you ever remember in the Peanuts cartoons on TV when Charlie Brown would talk to his mother or one of the school teachers? Remember that sound? Wah, 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 wah. That's what this sounds like in terms of the way the prospect hears it as it's communicated. I want you to think about this for a second. Your website, and your home show booth for that matter, is a culmination of all the best things that you and whoever your marketing people could think of. Your collective brain trust came up with whatever you show people at the home show, on your website, etc. And I'm telling you, this isn't that good. The collective brain trust has let this guy, and maybe you, down. And we've got to fix this, okay? This company is much more dynamic, is a much better value than what they're communicating on this website. As I talked to the owner of the company and his wife, they gave me multiple stories about how they had this incredible attention to detail, how Don, the owner, had gone to Seattle from Portland to look for pull knobs for one of his customers' kitchen cabinets because the customer couldn't fall in love with any of the ones that he had there locally in any of the local showrooms. And I asked him later, I said, why would you take that kind of time and effort to go to Seattle to get pull knobs for a kitchen? And he said, because I knew that the customer would look at those pull knobs multiple times a day, every single day for the next 10 to 15 years and say to themselves, I don't love those pull knobs. And I just couldn't live with that. That's the kind of attention to detail this guy has in his company, okay? And I could give you more stories, but I don't have time really on this webinar because we're not here to talk about identity per se. It's the foundational element of the triple play strategy for home shows, but I want you to understand how this identity works, okay? If I were talking to your company, I would sit down with you and I would find out what makes you tick, what makes you different, what makes you better, what do you want people to know about you, what can people expect when they do business with you, and then we've got to communicate it in a way that has power, precision, and passion, okay? Here we go. This is what we came up with for this guy when we looked at, when we redid his website. It says, persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky, then I'm the remodeler for you. I'm not the fastest, I'm not the cheapest. I am, however, according to my customers, the best. In remodeling, it's all about the details, and I'm obsessed with them. Why? Because I'd rather do things right rather than right now. It takes time to do things properly, and I refuse to compromise quality for speed. I'm not the fastest, and I'm not the cheapest contractor around, but according to my customers, I exceed their expectations with the final result. Okay, do you see how that works? We're capturing what he really does, and we're saying it in a way with power, precision, and passion so that it's instantly and definitively communicating who he is, how he's different, what you can expect when doing business with him, why he's the best choice. This is called identity. Down here it says, here's my cell phone number. Feel free to interrupt my dinner, wake me up at 2 a.m., make me leave home early from vacation. My only concern is that your job is 100% perfect. This is called powerful communication. We then take this identity and we put it into print ads. Are you anxious to get the job done right, or are you anxious to get the job done right? Or I could honestly care less if you have a list of 3 remodelers who are cheaper than me. Or we put it into a postcard. I shut down the job site in disgust, ripped out the floor, and started over again from scratch. Me and not done exactly right don't get along very well. If I have to choose between profit and perfection, I'll choose perfection every single time. And then we put it into a letter that he sends out as a confirmation for an appointment that he sets. Are you ready for your meeting with Portland's most persnickety remodeler? Most companies hate dealing with high-maintenance customers who complain about wanting every little thing a certain way. Those are the only kind I get along with. So every point of contact, from the website to the postcard, to the email that it sets the appointment, to when they answer the phone, it all is identity-driven. You understand who this company is, how they're different, why they're better, okay? And then we put it into the home show. Persnickety, demanding, hard to please, and I'm the remodeler for you. Ruin my vacation, interrupt my dinner, wake me up at 2 a.m. My only concern is that your job is 100% perfect. Here's my cell number. We are not the fastest. We are not the cheapest. We are, however, according to our customers, the best. Are you getting a feel for how this works? It's called identity. Then we take and put it into a flyer. I'll talk more about this flyer later on as we get into the second part of the triple play strategy, the big bill strategy. This is actually the back side of the big bill. It's a 17-inch tall by 7.3-inch wide flyer, and it has the identity. And this is something we're going to use at the home show to hand out to people as a takeaway, as something they can take home with them. And it says the same thing as the website: persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky, then I'm the remodeler for you. We're trying to instill in people an idea that this company is different, that they're better, what you can expect from them. This separates them from their competition and makes people feel like they would have to be an absolute fool to do business with anyone else but them, regardless of price. Now, I'm going to give you a word here, and I want to give you an idea here, and I want you to think about this because it's important. Here it is. We're attempting to cause the prospects to fall in love with this company, or in your case, with your company, before they ever set the appointment, before they ever let you show up into their home for the sales meeting. We don't want to wait to the sales meeting to quote unquote give them all the good stuff and to sell them. We want them from the first contact, whether it's the website or the advertisement or the postcard or the email or the phone call, whatever it is, the home show. We want them to say to themselves, wow, that's the kind of company I'd like to do business with. Those are the kind of people that I trust. That's what I'm looking for in a remodeler or a window company or a deck, whatever it is you happen to sell. We're trying to take the conversion process of them converting and becoming a customer, and we're trying to push it forward from a marketing standpoint to the home show or the website or the what have you, okay? So the identity becomes the hub of the business, and the website and the ads and the pre-positioning and the home shows and the sales presentation and the phone scripts and the mailers and everything. See, this is just the number of circles that would conveniently fit on this screen. But in real life, it's everything is based on the identity. Now, that's the good news. Identity is going to be the master key to getting you the results you want in your home shows and in all of your marketing. Now, here's the bad news. Unfortunately, almost no remodelers actually have identity that you can tell by looking at their marketing. Doesn't mean you don't do good things. You do good things. You have a genesis for an identity. You just haven't communicated it well, and that's where you need the help. In fact, I'm going to make you an offer at the end of this webinar. I'm going to offer to do a web marketing checkup for you where we'll take and grade your website based on identity on 18 different points on a scale of 1 to 100, and you'll be able to see exactly how you stack up on identity. Okay, so that's coming up a little bit later. But for now, understand the principle, okay? All of these things are a function of the identity. So if you take this and you put it into a home show, then we have this company looking for great windows without all the sales pressure. Call the Window Nerd. Instant quote right now on replacement windows, right here, right now, the Window Nerd. And then we've got this for a closet company. We've installed over 4,300 closets in Memphis since 1994. Got a beautiful picture of the closets. But the real identity is coming here in this sign on the right-hand side. We always insist on doing every job exactly right. No flimsy hardware, no cheap fiberboard, no cheesy laminates, no prefab kits. Look at the power that's being communicated in that sign. We always insist on doing every job exactly right. Look at the fonts that are being used. Look at the emphasis. Insist. Exactly. Every. Right. Flimsy. Cheap. Cheesy. No prefab kits. This is strong and powerful. It absolutely fits the definition of identity, which is what? Words, phrases, and images that instantly, definitively communicate who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when doing business with you, okay? Identity. You'll also notice on the left-hand side we've got a giveaway banner. This is $5,000 custom closet giveaway. This is part of our big giveaway strategy. I'm going to talk about this at length in just a minute. But understand, it's there for a very specific reason. This is part of how we're going to draw people into the booth so we can actually have a conversation with them. And it's also part of how we're going to communicate and get people to talk to us on the back end when we follow up. So stay tuned for that. Here's another example of a home show booth for a rebath dealer. High quality total bathroom remodeling, in and out and done in just 3 days. All products 100% guaranteed for life, period. And then it shows a sample of what the things are that they do: complete bathrooms, vanities, tubs and showers, walk-in, conversions, etc. Okay? So the second thing we're going to talk about then, after the foundation, which was identity, is the big bill and giveaway. Before we do that, we're going to pause for just a moment, and I'm going to tell you about one of our sponsors, Gutter Covers International, and then I'm going to turn some time over to Tim Mush from Market Sharp, and he's going to tell you a little bit about Market Sharp. So this is one of our sponsors now for a couple of years, Gutter Covers International. They are the innovator and creator of the gutter topper. You've probably heard of that brand, Gutter Topper. Gutter Covers International is their corporate brand, and the reason they have a corporate brand and then a product brand, Gutter Topper, very interesting story. I met with Tony Iannelli, the founder of Gutter Toppers, a couple of years ago when I was in Columbus, Ohio doing a seminar. And he admitted something to me that no gutter protection guy had ever admitted to me, which was his product doesn't always work all the time for every situation, which is unusual because most of these guys say, hey, my product is the end-all, be-all. And what he ended up telling me was, yeah, there's certain leaf situations, certain types of environments where the standard gutter topper won't work. Now, it does work in about 90-something% of the situations, but there's another 10% or so where it doesn't work. And what Tony did is he went out and he invented additional products that handle those other situations so that he's got a product, I think 5 or 6 in all now, that will handle all types of leaf, pine needle, whatever problems, so that there's a solution for every home. Even though the Gutter Topper is the flagship brand, it is not necessarily the perfect solution for everybody, so they've got these solutions. If you are in the business of gutter protection, you might want to check these guys out. If you're not currently in the business of gutter protection, this can be a fantastic add-on product for you. The margins are fantastic in the 60% range, the add-on value for your existing customers is fantastic. So if you're interested in that, you can see clearly right there, Gutter Covers International. Also, in just a moment, I'm going to give you a poll where you can check off which of our sponsors you're interested in. Now, with that being said, I'm going to turn a little bit of time over to Tim Mush. Tim Mush is MYM's longest tenured sponsor at almost 10 years now. And I've become not just a business associate with Tim Mush at Market Chart, but I consider him a good friend. I know that this company is integral. They do what they say, and they've got a fantastic product. I'm going to turn this over to Tim. Tim, are you with me?
I am, Rich. How are you doing today?
Good. Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about Market Sharp, and I'll try to keep up with you here on the slides, okay?
All right. Yeah, I can pretty much talk in general about Market Sharp. You know, certainly we think it's an app that can help people in the business. Many of you on this call do have Market Sharp, and we appreciate your trust in us to supply your CRM needs. It's a leading CRM solution for the remodeling industry. Been doing it, gosh, since about 1991, so even longer than I've known you, Rich. So let's go on to a slide or two. And I want to get on the slide that shows a few things that Market Sharp will do, and it's the next slide. And one thing I want to focus on, because we're really excited about one thing, and what that is where you see the arrow is radius marketing. And that doesn't sound like anything new, but hang on, because I'm going to take you through a series of slides that shows you something a little bit different. And we're calling this thing Smart Mail Plus. And when we talk about home shows, and that's what the topic of conversation is here today, you know, really this is not totally on target with what the topic of conversation is, but it really is. Because when you think about it, when you do a job in a neighborhood, you got a home show going on. In other words, you got a home that you can show and be proud of, and you can use it as a show place to try to get some additional leads. So we created this thing called Smart Mail Plus that takes traditional marketing, like direct mail, and combines it with web strategies to really enhance response. Now, I want to take you through a few slides to give you an understanding of how this works. So first off, from the Market Sharp program, there's a little icon there. You just click it. And that icon there says, hey, I want to do a Smart Mail Plus campaign around my recently completed job, Bob and Mary Smith. What it does then is take you to this slide, or this particular screen, I should say, which allows you to select from multiple calls to action. This one's got a consumer guide. But what also is very cool is you can now upload a picture of the recently completed job or the homeowners you just finished a job for, and that's going to appear in all the marketing that takes place to give you a high degree of relevance. Okay, so next slide is going to show you what happens next. When you do that, you get an email immediately that says, hey, your project at 1323 North Washington Avenue is ready to roll. All you got to do is proof the postcard, it's ready to print, and when you're ready, just click place order now. And if you do 150 around a job, it picks the list for you automatically. You don't have to lift a finger to do this stuff. And when you go ahead and place the order, here's what's neat. Things start really ramping up here. Your job gets completed, and you can share it socially. So what's going on here, you get thanked for the order. Your postcards are being printed that day. Then you click on the Facebook link or the Twitter link down there, and you'll see in the next slide that it's going to show that it automatically updates your Facebook page and your Twitter page with information about your job. There's the picture, there's the address. So all that's happened automatically for you. And the postcards that are printed are going to look like this. And what's interesting is it's going to have the pictures on there, but it's got multiple response mechanisms. You can see in the bottom right, you got a QR code because many people are doing things on their mobile phone. But what's really unique here is there's a personalized URL is what it's called on every postcard that has a unique code that when people go to the web page or scan with the QR code, they get on a page and you know they're there. And here's the landing page that gets created for you. And again, all this stuff is done for you on every campaign. It's got a picture of the home, a map to the home, and all that. And here's what's cool, is people can go to that page. Maybe they're just inquisitive, want to find out what's there. And if they just go to the page and don't submit the contact information, you get an email that says, hey, this person was just on your page. Might want to follow up. So even if they don't submit their information, you know they're there. The email on the right is a little different, and that's if they request, in this case, the consumer guide, you get a different email saying you got a hot lead. So this is pretty cool how it's combining both direct mail and online strategies. Now the next slide is going to show you something pretty interesting, and what that is a bunch of reports that are available on your portal that tell you what's going on with every campaign, how many went out, how many inquired, and all that. So pretty neat stuff here to try to increase response. So the goal is really to get another job for every job you install by doing this kind of marketing. We think it's the perfect combination of both offline and online marketing. And the next slide really shows some of the details related to how to do this. When you think about what it costs, you know, everything involved, including printing the postcards, the list, the mailing, creating the web page, automatically integrating with your Facebook and Twitter page is only 82 cents. So if you do 100 around a job, you know, you're spending $82 in this marketing campaign. Now, if you really do your job right, and you really have job signs in the yard, you got a referral program going on with your new customer, you know, the hope is to get 2 or 3 leads from this particular job, which will result in 1 sale by an average. So if you get a sale, every time you get a sale by investing $82, you got something pretty cool going on. So if you'd like to learn more about Smart Mail Plus and also some of the things Rich is about to talk about in terms of following up on home show leads, lead nurturing and stuff like that, all sorts of things Market Sharp can do to help your business. So thanks for the opportunity to share. We're really excited about Smart Mail Plus. It's been 2 years in the making, Rich, so wanted to get the information out there. So thanks for that.
Hey, Tim, you know what? I've been hearing you talk about Smart Mail Plus. This is the first time I've sat down and gone through the details of it. I've known those details. I just haven't seen them. That's freaking cool, man. That's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. Okay, you see right now there's a poll on your screen. If you'll do me a favor and just go ahead and check off whichever of those sponsors you might be interested in hearing more about. If you are not interested in that Market Sharp, then I'm basically just going to consider you to be crazy. I mean, come on, seriously. That is the coolest thing. Now, granted, many of you may be already Market Sharp users, but let me give you just a few more moments to fill out the poll. If you'll please do that right now, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to give you another 20 seconds, and then we're going to get back into the next part of the triple play strategy. We just got done talking about the identity portion. Now we're going to talk about what to do actually at the show with the big bill and the giveaway. And before I do this, I always get a little uncomfortable talking about this home show strategy. And the reason is because I have seen this work consistently so many times with so many of my customers that it's almost embarrassing when you start to promote it because it sounds made up and it doesn't sound like it's really true. We've seen, generally speaking, about a 3 times increase in business from home shows using the strategy, and we've seen as much as 10 times increased. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let me close this poll out here. Close. All right, that is closed. And thank you for participating in the polls. We'll have one more poll for you at the end. And before we get to the end, we got to get through the middle, which is the engagement part. This is really where the rubber hits the road. So we've got the foundation at the bottom, which the yellow part of this pyramid was the identity. Now let's talk about this big bill and giveaway. The biggest problem is getting people to actually engage in conversation. You know what people do, right? They sort of walk by with their eyes down on the ground and they glance up occasionally because they don't want to make eye contact with everybody at the home show. Otherwise, they'd get bogged down and would never get to actually look at anything because they'd be too busy talking to people. Some of the old tricks, they just don't work very good. The candy bowls, pens, keychains, bags, all that kind of stuff, a big stack of brochures. Everyone's trying to avoid contact. And, you know, just sitting there is not going to work. I mean, this is not a good strategy for the home show. Come in and have a seat. They've got some chairs there for you. This guy, one of them's on his phone tweeting something. The other guy's literally twiddling his thumbs. So that's interesting. Here's people that are, you know, why would you put a huge table between you and the people that you're trying to talk to? I don't really understand that. But nevertheless, there it is. What we want to talk about is called the triple play, okay? The triple play strategy using a giveaway and a big bill. Now, I'm going to say this before we even get started. I'm not that interested in a giveaway from the standpoint of, hey, a giveaway is awesome and everybody wants to sign up for a giveaway, but understand this loud and clear. The major thing we're trying to do is find a way to engage with people and talk to them so that they'll actually have a conversation with us. So that's why we recommend using the home improvement giveaway. We'll create a big bill. I'll show you that here in just a minute for whatever the giveaway amount is. Now, the giveaway, in my opinion, should be an amount of money or value that is sufficiently large that people would actually be interested in filling out a form to sign up for it. So if you're a window company and you say one free window and the giveaway is worth $500, that's probably not going to get people too fired up. You might want to think of a bigger number. The big bill is the best interrupter on the planet. Again, I'll show that to you here just in a second. It's going to stop people in their tracks, give you a natural tie-in to the giveaway to start the conversation, and then I'm going to show you some qualification questions that will allow you to steer the conversations toward an appointment, okay? So let's talk about the giveaway. Why is it called a giveaway and not a sweepstakes? The sweepstakes sounds like something that nobody ever wins, that a zillion people will enter. What we want is something that sounds more likely to actually be winnable. You'll see on the signs that I'll show you in a minute, we put local winners guaranteed. You only have to give something away once per year. You don't have to give it away after every show. That would become cost prohibitive. My experience says you can milk one giveaway for multiple shows or events, maybe one giveaway per year. The amount of money it's going to cost, if you give away a $10,000 giveaway, that's probably going to cost you about $5,000 depending on your margin. If you do a $5,000 giveaway, it might only cost you $2,500 depending on your margin. The grand prize winner of this giveaway is really just a small part of the strategy. The real purpose is to be able to contact everyone on the back end. So the giveaway is a critical element of the back end following up strategy that I'll go through in detail here in just a minute, okay? You'll know their contact information, you'll know their interest level before you ever even reach out to them, plus you'll have something specific that they will want to talk to you about. Stay tuned for just a second. Let's talk about this big bill. Now, what you see here on the screen is a $20,000 bill that we create, obviously using Photoshop. It's 17 inches wide, it's 7.3 inches tall. The reason that it's those exact dimensions is that allows it to keep the correct proportions of a dollar bill just much longer. So it's not stretched out super wide or whatever. It looks like a big bill, but it's just huge. You have to see this next to a regular dollar bill to appreciate the magnitude of the size. So here's what I've done. I've actually just taken and taped this onto the wall. There's a $1,000 bill, there's a $5,000 bill, and then there's a regular $1 bill. So you can get an idea of how gargantuan these things are. If you're wondering if it's legal to tamper with money like this, the answer is yes. As long as the bill is at least 150% bigger than a regular bill, it's fine. There's no restrictions on what amounts or what president's face you can put on there. Sometimes people say, oh, well, let me put my own face on there. That'll be funny. My experience says don't do that. What you want it to look like is a regular bill. It has more impact. On the back side of the bill, guess what we're going to put? We're going to put your identity. Like I talked about earlier, high quality total bathroom remodeling in and out in just 3 days. Persnickety, demanding, hard to please, then I'm the remodeler for you. And then, you know, we saw this one on the left for the closet organizing company, the window nerd. Whatever your identity is, doesn't matter to me. We'll find out what it is, and we stick it on this back of this big bill. So you have the ability to hold the big bill out, show them the bill, and then you flip it over, you hand it to them, it's got your identity. Now, it's real easy to use this big bill, and I'm going to tell you something. This freaking works. Here's what you do. When people are walking by, you take that big bill, extend it out, bill side up. Okay, you don't want the identity side up. You don't want people to think you're handing them a flyer for your company. You want a $10,000 bill, a $5,000 bill, $20,000 bill, whatever the size bill is that you have that's commensurate with your giveaway. You hand it to them, bill side up, and it's real simple. You say, I'd like to give you $10,000. And I'm telling you, people flipping up. It's the most amazing thing. You can also say, would you like to enter our $10,000 home remodeling giveaway? If they say yes, you let them have the bill. And let me just tell you something. There's this amazing human psychology principle that works in your favor. When you hand something to somebody, they have a reflex reaction where their hand reaches out to grab it. It's just a reflex. And when it's something cool and unusual and neat, like a big old honking $10,000 bill, it sort of breaks their state of, hey, I'm trying to walk down this home show aisle, to, hey, what's this? And I'm telling you, it works like crazy. Now, what we want to do is if they say yes, we want to lead them over to a table where we've got forms and pens where they can actually sign up for this $10,000 giveaway. As they're doing it, or as you're talking to them, you want to ask them qualification questions. This is the part that has to be memorized. I'm going to show you some examples of qualification questions here in just a minute. If possible, you are going to set the appointment and you're going to make notes on the entry form. I'll show you this entry form here in just a minute where you can make the notes, okay? The qualification questions, these are critical. You use them to find out how much interest and urgency they have. So for Windows, here's an example. As they're filling out the form, you might ask them these questions. How old is your home? Are the windows original to the house? Do you know what material they're made from? Are they wood? Are they vinyl? Are they aluminum? What specifically about your windows don't you like? Do you think your energy bills are too high? Are you just starting the process of looking into this? Have you ever had a contractor give you a bid on new windows before? Do you have any idea how much new windows should cost? You know, none of these windows are designed to tie them down or make them feel uncomfortable, like you're trying to commit them to something. You're just gathering information. But what you're really doing is you're trying to find out if they have a genuine need and interest for windows, or if they're just kind of trying to fill out the form. And if they have a need for windows, now all of this is supposing that you sell windows. If you sell something else, you'll need a different set of qualification questions. But assuming they sell windows, if they have a need, and you can tell by asking these questions, then you're going to move into an appointment setting dialogue. Well, it sounds like this might be a good fit. And then you move into your appointment setting dialogue. Now, we've scripted out all of the appointment setting dialogue, and we've got something like 10 or 12 different sets of qualification questions, depending on what you sell, as a part of our home show package. For bathroom remodeling, same kind of thing. How old is your home? Is your bathroom original to the home? How long since you remodeled? What about your bathroom specifically don't you like? Have you been thinking about doing this for a while? What's been holding you back? Have you had any contractors take a look? Do you feel like you know what you want, or do you feel like you need design input? You'll notice that there are certain words underlined in this qualification question script. I found that it makes it easier for people to memorize it if you underline the key word. So instead of the whole thing, they're just remembering old, original, how long, specifically, and it makes remembering those questions easier. I've also found that it's really easy to get people to memorize your qualification questions if you, number one, give them this list with the words underlined, the keywords underlined, and number two, you offer them a $25 Chili's gift card if they get them memorized by, you know, this time tomorrow. It's amazing how much people can memorize stuff when you give them Chili's or whatever, you know, Fat Burger, whatever you want to give them. This is what the form looks like. Obviously, it has the contact information. Notice there, it says winners will be notified via phone and or email. That is simply to get them to give us legitimate phone numbers and email addresses. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, this is where it becomes very, very critical that you follow this strategy exactly. My dream project is, and then you list the different kinds of things that you sell. What you're trying to do is get a feel for what it is that they're most interested in, and then notice below that, checkbox, yes, I'd like to get a quote on a project. Now, notice this, there is no checkbox for no, I don't want to get a quote on a project. We don't give them an opportunity to opt out. We only give them an opportunity to opt in. That gives us an ability, if they don't check that box, to still follow up with them a little bit later as we get into the third part of our triple play strategy, which is the follow-up. We'll talk about that momentarily. At the bottom of this form, you'll see we've got 5 letters, A, B, C, D, and E. This is real simple. If they're an A lead, we check that off. An A lead is somebody that set an appointment with you on the spot. You check it off, and then you write there, see where it says lit. That's if you gave them literature, you make a note so you know what they were given. It says appointment. If you set an appointment, you make a note of when it was set. And then rep over on the right-hand side on the bottom, that's where you have an opportunity for whoever set the appointment to write their initials or their name, and that allows you to give spiffs or bonuses if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, for getting appointment set. So an A lead, you check that off. That's somebody that set an appointment. A B lead is somebody that wanted to set an appointment, said they wanted to set an appointment, but they didn't know their schedule, and they asked you to contact them soon. That's a B lead. A C lead is somebody that did not say they wanted to set an appointment, but they checked off, yes, I'd like to get a quote on a project. You're going to take, at the end of the day, all of your A, B, and C leads, and you're going to immediately follow up with them. The A leads, you're going to confirm the appointment. The B leads, you're going to set the appointment. The C leads, you're going to call to set the appointment. The follow-up strategies we're going to talk about are strictly for D and E leads. These are the people that did not expressly say that they wanted to set an appointment, which is going to be a pretty good percentage of the people you talk to, right? So this is the form. It's pretty simple. At the show, should you give out any kind of Collateral material, my recommendation is that you have some of the pre-positioning materials that we make available to our customers. Maybe you have some for yourself. Have some of the contractor standards guide on hand, some product reports. Generally what I would do with those is I would put show copy, do not remove. I don't really want to fill their bag with a bunch of stuff. The only thing I want going into their bag typically is the big bill. And that big bill is sufficiently tall, it's going to stick out from the pile of all the other stuff they have. Tell them you'd be happy to send them a copy or give it to them when you see them. Again, we're trying to just keep stuff from getting buried in that junk bag that's not going to really do you much good. All right? Here's what some of these things look like. Here's a contractor standards guide or a home remodeling design idea guide. I'm not going to pause too long on these. I'm going to just kind of show them to you and then keep moving. Bathroom remodeling guide. Let's get into the final part of this, which is the follow-up. So here's what we've accomplished so far. We've got an identity. That's the yellow foundation of this triple play. And then the big bill and the giveaway. That's going to allow us to stop people in their tracks. The big bill is worth its weight in gold, probably worth more than its weight in gold. And it's going to allow you to have conversations. What do we call them? The qualification questions are going to allow you to look for interest and urgency. You're going to set appointments on the spot when you can. You're going to mark A, B, or C lead if they've indicated an interest in having an appointment. But now what do we do with the D leads, the people that filled out the form but didn't actually request or check off that they wanted an appointment? Well, this is probably what you have found. When you call people on the phone after the show, they're usually going to scream at you and say, no, I don't want to talk to you. How many people do you think are following up with people after home shows? Number one, it's not as many as you think, but if they filled out 15 or 20 different things, some people are going to be following up. And it's just generally very difficult. You call them up and you say, hey, we saw you at the home show. Do you have any needs? That's not a good solution. Here's what I recommend. The A, B, and C prospects, like I already said, call them immediately to set or confirm the appointment. That's pretty obvious. The D prospects, what we're going to do is use what we call a first prize script. We're going to offer a gift card of reasonable value and then use a script that we'll make available to offer it to them. It puts the prospect in a good mood, makes them less likely to hate you, and what we're going to do is use the qualification questions again. So let's take a look. Here's how it works. You call them on the phone and you say, hey, I was calling about the free $10,000 remodeling giveaway that you registered for at last week's home show. Do you remember that? Oh, yeah. The grand prize won't be held till the 4th of July or whenever you hold it. But we did hold a first place drawing after the show, and I'm calling to let you know that your name was chosen as a winner. See, I'm calling them to tell them that they are what? A winner. The grand prize was $10,000 of remodeling. The first prize is a $500 gift card good towards any project. I just need to verify your address, and I'll mail the card to you. I show that you're at 1231 Whispering Oaks in DeSoto, 75115. Is that correct? It is. Great. I'm going to send this over to you. It's good for any project. It doesn't expire, and I appreciate you filling this out at the home show. And then we pause. At that point, in their mind, they've just been declared a winner. How often have you ever won something? Think about that for a second. The answer is pretty much never. Okay, so now you're calling to tell them, hey, you won. They're going to be a lot more likely to at least have the conversation. Then what you say is, hey, I see here you indicated that your dream project would be a new kitchen. Is that right? That's where that dream kitchen checkbox or that dream project checkbox becomes so valuable. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, and then you talk about your identity. We're known as Portland's most persnickety remodeler. We take time to do things right. We're basically OCD. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that at the home show. Yeah, we always, whatever your identity is, right? If you'd be willing to set an appointment to meet with our rep, I'm actually authorized to raise the first prize gift card amount from $500 to $1,000. So I'm giving them an additional bonus if they will set an appointment to meet with us right now. Okay, you see how that works? And then we go into the appointment setting script. Okay, I recommend getting gift cards that look like real, actual gift cards. Here's a few examples. Incognito custom closets, identity-based, right? We insist on doing every job exactly right. We never want to miss an opportunity to discuss our identity with our prospects. Best window installation in Chicago, bar none. $1,000 to use towards your Revive remodeling project. We got his face on there. He's serious. Instant quote. This is for the window nerd. It's a $0 card. I don't play pricing games, but I will give you a quote over the phone. That's sort of what he does. He's all about that's kind of fun, and it actually works well for him. And then we can send out letters for those that we can't get on the phone. And this letter is very simple. Good news, you've won first prize in our sweepstakes drawing. Your $250 gift card or whatever amount you want is attached. Dear Mr. Anderson, congratulations, you've won. You recently filled out a card to enter our sweepstakes to win a $10,000 grand prize, a whole house of new windows from a Change of View Windows. We haven't held the drawing for the grand prize yet. We choose that lucky winner every 6 months, and the drawing is coming up soon. We do, however, draw several first prize winners each month, and this month you are one of the lucky winners. Your prize is the attached $250 gift cards, good towards any qualifying home remodeling project with us, including replacement windows and doors. A minimum purchase may be required. Please ask for details. And then it goes on to have an additional offer for setting an appointment. And this is a letter that is easy to send out, and it gives you something interesting to talk to people about. Okay? After the show, put together a hopper system. People that don't set appointments right away go into a hopper system, which means we're going to send them mailers and emails to follow up. You can assign different levels depending on their levels of interest. If they're less interested, maybe only emails. If they're more interested, if they checked off their dream project, you might want to send them mailers also and emailers. Remember, a lot of people are just bogged down. Timing is poor, so you're going to want to follow up with these people. There's business that can be mined out of those leads if you will just be disciplined to continue to follow up, okay? Does it really work? Let's show you some case studies. This is a company called Lone Star Property Solutions in Fort Worth, Texas. This was their brochure when we met them. It was a typical kind of brochure. It has a guide for complete remodeling, special projects. And we said, you know, this doesn't really capture your identity. It looks nice, but it doesn't capture the identity. Let us help you with your design project. This was their home show booth, you know, sort of rinky-dink looking, not super professional, some pictures on a black backdrop, just pretty typical stuff. We created a website for Kathy that said, most remodelers are order takers. They say, tell me what you want and I'll make it happen. I'll guide you through an exhilarating brainstorming session where I'll pick your brain, throw out tons of ideas, show you dozens of materials, and help you discover what you really want. From the first meeting to the final walkthrough, my main concern is that you'll love the end result. This is the identity of this company. They help you figure out what it is that you actually want and design it. They pick it out of your brain. So then we took and put this into a brochure. This is an identity-based brochure. Okay, the front of it is on the right-hand side as it folds. Remodeling that makes you say, wow, we'll pick your brain, infuse it with ideas, and help you discover exactly what you want. As you open this brochure up, again, beautiful picture. We specialize in even better than I imagined. From the first meeting to the final walkthrough, my main concern is that you'll love the end result. So this is now an identity-based brochure instead of just a regular brochure. Then we put it into play in a home show. Remodeling, we'll pick your brain, infuse it with ideas, and help you discover exactly what you want. We specialize in even better than I imagined. And you can see the pop-up brochures that we created. Most remodelers are order takers. We are dream makers. Let us help you unleash your inner design genius. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, the $10,000 home remodeling giveaway, guaranteed local winners. Register right now. We specialize in even better than I imagined. Okay? This is the back of her big bill. Most remodelers are order takers. They'll say, tell me what you want. They're going to see that at the show. They're going to see it on the signs. They're going to take this big bill home. It's all going to be consistent. They go to the website. It's the same thing, right? Consistency, frequency, branding, identity. The gift card, let us help you design, unleash your inner design genius. That's what they use on the back end for the giveaway. Now, this is what it looks like when they put it up. They had a small space, but we were able to put these pop-up banners come out when the show starts. This was before the show started, so they had them sort of tucked back there. $10,000 bills for their $10,000 giveaway. You can see how big they are. Those are the actual printed ones. Ben Franklin's face. They look fantastic. So what happened when they did this? Simple. Normally, they were getting 15 to 20 leads from home shows. Most people walked by, didn't want to stop. We felt like we had to be pushy, let them walk by. Our identity sets the pace for everything we do now. Everything is the reason clients choose me over competitors. In February, they did 60 leads and $122,000 in sales. In August, they did 50 leads, $65,000 plus 6 pending deals still outstanding. They went from 15 to 20 leads to 60 and 50 leads respectively. This is the real deal. These are the real numbers as reported by Kathy Fleck. Total cost for the booth, electric, everything was about $1,500. Most clients didn't even shop around the home show. They saw this and they zeroed right in. Here's another company called Coastal Windows and Exteriors. I've taken my 20 years plus of experience in the home improvement industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and established the ultimate do whatever it takes, quality first, customer-friendly remodeling company. Get ready to experience the exact opposite of Murphy's Law. With us, whatever can go right will go right. No sales pressure, lifetime warranties, don't pay until you're satisfied policy. Everything is 100% guaranteed. We have a treat you like family set of articles of faith. We put this together as their home show booth. The do whatever it takes, quality first, no sales pressure, lifetime warranty remodeling company. And then just a list of the kinds of things that they actually sell, right? Whatever can go right will go right. The giveaway, $5,000 home improvement giveaway, guaranteed local winners. We've seen that before. The treat you like families articles of faith. I've taken the best of my 20 years, created a truly exceptional company. That's Stephanie Vanderbilt and her husband. And then the big bill on the back-end side. I'm going through this quickly because we've seen it. It looks the same over and over because the template of how we do this doesn't change. It all is based on your identity. The gift cards, right? And then again, this is before it actually got set up. This is the best I could get from a photo. I didn't have an actual photo of the home show in progress, but I can tell you what the results were. Normally, they were getting about 30 leads from home shows. Hard to stand out from so many window companies. Our identity now sets us apart. It's the main factor in our home show success. That's why it's the foundational part of the triple play strategy. February, 98 leads, triple what they normally get. Home shows are now, didn't used to be, but now a major source of revenue. Hang the banners in their windows of their showroom. People see those, so they get some double use out of it. We use the materials for lots of kinds of events. This is what happens with this triple play strategy. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's straightforward. It's all about having an identity and then using the rest of the strategy, okay? So by way of review, before you show up, know what you're trying to accomplish. You've got to have an identity. If you don't, you're going to look like everyone else. Use the big bill for an easy attention getter. Setting appointments on the spot, that's what you're trying to do. Following up with the scripts for the unconverted leads. If you work this, you will win. If you do not work this, you will not win. It's pretty simple. I mean, this is as simple as it gets. It's not easy because you have to put the work into it, but it actually, truly, really works, okay? Now, I'm going to give away 3 books here in just a minute. So if you'll hang out with me, we're going to just wrap up. I want to tell you a little bit about some things that we can help you with. One of them is a web marketing checkup. And here's what I'm going to offer you. It's pretty interesting. We're going to grade your website on 18 different criteria and give you a score from 0 to 100. Now, here's what I found. Most sites score somewhere between 20 and 40. What if your kid brought home a 25 on his algebra test? How would you feel about that? It's not going to cut the mustard. The biggest problem typically is lack of identity, okay? That's the biggest issue. Then we're going to grade your SEO efforts on 21 specific criteria to give you specific action items to improve on, including a keyword ranking report. So let me show you what this looks like. We're going to do this for you for free. All you've got to do is when I show you the poll in a minute, just check off that you'd like to get the web marketing checkup. Okay, here's what you see. Section 1, engagement, professionalism, search match engagement tools, price conditioning. It shows you what the max score is, what your score is. You can see that this company scored 16 out of 25 on the engagement section. The identity section, the home page, what we call a headline funnel, evidence, product pages, product evidence. And you can see that the total maximum is 45. This company only scored 6. Pretty typical. The second page of this is section 3, social proof, online reviews, photo galleries, other social proof, FAQ pages, about us page, bedside manner. They scored 29 out of 100. And then on the fourth section, we can either add or subtract extra points for things that are extra good or extra bad, or give you some specific elements of your website that are good or need improvement. You'll see this one here scored a grand total of 29 points out of 100. That's not good, people. Do you know what your website scores? We can tell you. All you need to do is check off when I show you the poll here in a minute that you'd like to get a website, a web marketing checkup. What we'll also do is check your SEO. And here's what we'll give you. We'll give you, this is just from a month ago. This particular website will give you this first page that shows either negative or positive. It's a pass or fail grade on 21 different things. Then we'll give you your keywords, and we'll show you how you rank. You'll see here that this company doesn't rank very well unless they actually put the company name in the keyword. Then we'll give you a deep, what we call a deep analysis report, which is 9 pages. I won't go through this in detail with you right now, but I'm just going to show you. It's very detailed. 9 pages of exactly what is right and wrong with your SEO, okay? We'll do that for you if you fill out on the form. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you check off on the poll that you'd like for us to do this for you, I'm only asking one thing in return, that you actually be willing to meet with us to talk about it, because otherwise, if we do this and then you don't talk to us and we can't explain it to you, then it's wasting our time and our money, because we've got to put resources into creating these reports for you. We'd be happy to talk to you about them. We'd love to talk to you about them. But if it's something that you're not actually going to follow through with, then do me a favor, don't check it off on the poll when I give it to you here in just a minute. Now, some people ask, how can they do business with MYM? What we do is offer foundational marketing that you really need just to run your business. It starts with identity, and then we've got some things like websites, pre-positioning, SEO, new movers packages, proximity marketing, and it's easy to afford, okay? Oops. We do it all for a low monthly payment. We created something called a Monopolized Bundle. Here's what it is. It's real simple. It includes ongoing webinar training. These are some of the most popular things that people buy from us, and we bundled them to make it more affordable. We create the identity for your company, write the website content, professionally build a website for you, do the SEO setup and maintenance for 2 years, create a mobile version of your website, update your website as much as you need for 2 years, manage your pay-per-click for 2 years, create the pre-positioning materials, and all of that together is worth $47,000. So what we do is, again, create the identity, and we do all of this for about $600 per month. In fact, it's $2,999 down and then $599 a month, okay? That's how our bonus bundles work. It's pretty simple. Now, if you're interested in looking at this, you can go to our website, our homepage at mymonline.com, and you can click on bonus bundles. It'll take you to a page that has a list of what those bonus bundles are. You can see here that you can click on any of these elements to get more details about what that is, okay? Bonus. Now, we do have a webinar special, which is we'll give you a $500 cash discount that'll bring the down payment down by $500. We'll also give you a free SEO upgrade where we'll do your social media optimization for 2 years, which is a $10,000 value. We'll also give you our home show package for free. This is what we talked about today. It includes creating the identity, of course, but then creating the backdrop for your home show, the pop-up banners for your home show, the qualification questions, all of the scripting, the gift cards, the follow-up letters. All of that is included in the home show package. Now, we don't print the brochures, we don't print the big bills, we don't print the backdrops, but we'll do all the design work and we'll create all the copy, and we'll do all of that included in our home show package. Normally, we charge $3,000 for that. We'll include that for free. The total bonus value is $13,500. If you want to take advantage of that, you do have to purchase it this week, and we'll contact you with an appointment. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to run the second poll out there. And where did my mouse go? There it is. So the second poll is real simple. Let me get that thing live. It says, what is your interest in Monopolize Your Marketplace? And then you can choose that you're interested in the bonus bundles, or you'd like to have the free web analysis, or both, either one. So if you'll go ahead and fill that out, just check off what you might be interested in. I'll give you just a few moments. And while you're doing that, I'm going to give away the 3 books. So here we go on the books, okay? Let me find the list of people we can give books to here. And here we go. All right, the first book, and Leslie, if you can make notes on this, who's listening, the first book is going to go to Andre Masgati, M-A-S-G-H-A-T-I. That's going to be number 1. The second book is going to go to John Peart, P-E-A-R-T, just because your brother Neil is a cool drummer probably. And the third one is going to go to Richard Flores. And those are our 3 winners today. So I appreciate you participating with me today. Let me go ahead and go back to the poll. Okay. All right. If anybody else would like to vote, please vote right now. And I'll give you 3, 2, 1. And let me just make a quick note here. All righty. Okay, that's going to be it for today. I sure appreciate everybody participating. If there's anything that we can help you with, we will be sending out an email on the back end of this that'll have information about how to watch this webinar. If you maybe want to watch it with your staff or watch it again. Also, if you'd like to ask us any questions, if you have filled out either of the polls, we will most certainly be in touch with you, or the sponsors will be in touch with you. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for participating. We'll talk to you next time. Bye now.